I now move on to introduce Ross Lesson 51. 51.1, Independent Nominal Absolute. The independent nominative absolute is a nominative separated from its formal syntactical function in a sentence. A pronoun frequently serves as the formal subject. Older grammarians called this casus pendus, pending case. And that's actually the way I learned it, and I probably have mentioned pending case somewhere along the way in our discussions. Because the nominative case was loosely connected to formal sentences. But anyway, here you have an example in Psalm 11 and verse 4. Adonai b'shamayim kis'o. And literally you have the Lord in the heavens, his throne. But the sense of it is this: as for the Lord, his throne is in the heavens. Ross does it by the Lord dash in the heavens is his throne, but you could do this as for sort of thing to give you the idea of pending case. As for the Lord, his throne is in the heavens. Now, sometimes this can occur with a pronoun called a resumptive pronoun, which might sound a little redundant in English. But here you have the example, Ha'isha asher natata imadi, he natanali. Ha'isha, the woman whom you gave to be with me, imadi. And then I could translate the he as, well, she, natana, she gave to me the fruit to eat in the story of the forbidden fruit. And so here, instead of just translate, well, if you're going to translate it, literally it's she, but you need to bring out the kind of pending case sense of it. The woman whom you gave to be with me, well, she, you throw that little word well in there and you'll get the idea. Well, she gave to me. That would emphasize the she a bit more, and that's a nice way of treating that. 51.2 gives some special usages of preposition ba. The preposition ba has several translation values besides in, which is the most common one, or with, which can express accompaniment. Other usages are adversatives, which would mean against. Utihi bo yad Philishtim. The hand of the Philistines, let them be against him. Ba, in this context, would be designating the person to whose disadvantage an action is taking place, and therefore can be translated against. Preposition ba also represents means. Can also be translated with, but not with in the sense of accompanying, but with in the sense of by means of. And so here you have pain yif ga'enu ba dever bo be harev, which means lest he meet us, note the pronominal object suffix, with a pestilence, dever, or with a plague, a sword, cherev. And so here the ba in both cases is the means by which God is meeting or punishing us. Let's see, meet us in the sense of punish us by means of a plague or by means of the sword. When you have the expression that he struck someone with a sword, Harev would be the typical way that would be expressed. Kind of a similar meaning would be agency, in which case it would be translated by. And here it says, Shofet dam ha'adam, ba'adam damo yif shafek. The one shedding the blood of a man, by man, his blood will be shed. And Ross takes this as the agency of who will do the shedding of blood. Now, this verse actually is debated to some degree, and while I think this is the most obvious meaning of ba here, there are other options. You could take it as adversative, for example. The one shedding the blood of a man against that man, his blood will be shed. In other words, you're changing the meaning of man. Man, first of all, is the murdered, but Adam in the second would be the murderer. Against that man, his blood will be shed. It doesn't say the agent. That could be God. Those who are opposed to capital punishment often look for that kind of interpretation. Another possibility is to take the ba. There's another usage in terms of price. The one shedding the blood of a man, for the value of that man, his blood will be shed. Again, that could make unclear that whether the agent is a human being or whether it's God that does the shedding of blood. But anyway, there's at least three different interpretations of the ba here. The most obvious one is instrumentality, in which it is actually demanding capital punishment for deliberate murder, though the bet of adversative bet or the bet of price are at least defendable. The fourth one is the bet of essence, in which case you would translate it as. And so you get ve ra, and I will appear, but El Shaddai. I will appear in the form of El Shaddai, or I will appear as El Shaddai. And so that's yet another usage of ba. Move on to 51.3 rhetorical questions. Interrogative sentences often have a rhetorical purpose, that is, they do not expect an answer to the question as stated. The answer is implied in the way that the question is asked. For example, in Genesis 18 and verse 14, you get an interrogative, hey, ha yipale mi Adonai davar. And the question is anything, davar, wonderful from Yahweh, meaning is anything too wonderful for Yahweh, the comparative mean. And so the question is anything too marvelous for the Lord? And it implies the affirmation, nothing is too hard for the Lord, though it's stated as a rhetorical question. And then Proverbs 31:10, Eshet Hayel mi yimsa, a wife of noble character, a woman of valor, who can find? And the implication is such women are hard to find. Or Genesis 4 and verse 9. Vayomer lo yadati ha shomer achi anoki. Vayomer, and he said, and the context is Cain. Cain said, lo yadati, I do not know, to the question, where's your brother? And then he asks a question, ha shomer, this should be, by the way, a resh at the end rather than a dalet. Question, keeper of my brother am I? Am I my brother's keeper? And is a rhetorical question implying I am not responsible for my brother. Well, anyway, that's the grammar of lesson 51 at the introduction, and we will go on to lesson 52.